Hello students, how are you? Hope you are good. In today's class, we shall continue Two Gentlemen of Verona by A.J. Cronin. Previous class summary. The narrator is driving through the foothills of the Alps along with his companion. While driving on the outskirts of Verona, two young boys who sell wild strawberries stop their car. The small boys appear to be quite shabby, and the driver is not keen on buying strawberries from them. Then, the narrator's companion gets to know that the boys are brothers. The elder one, aged 13, is Nicola, and the younger brother, aged 12, is Jacopo. The narrator and his companion buy the biggest basket of strawberries from the boys and go towards the city. The next morning, they again see the same two boys doing the shoe shining job, and on being asked, they say that they do many things for a living. They also tell the narrator and his companion that they could work as guides and show the visitors place of interest in the town. So the narrator asks them to take them to Juliet's tomb. During the time of their stay in the town, the two young boys turn out to be very helpful to the visitors. Then the boys are found with a bundle of unsold newspapers and are ready to sell them when the last bus arrived one night. The narrator then talks to them and asks them why they are working so hard. He also told them that they seem to fetch sufficient money, so why were they not spending anything on clothes and food? Nicola tells him that they had something in their minds, but he does not elaborate. You must be saving up to emigrate to America, I suggested. He looked at me sideways, spoke with an effort. We should greatly like to go to the States, but here, at present, we have other plans. What plans? He smiled uncomfortably. Just plans, sir, he answered in a low voice. The narrator sarcastically asks if he is saving up to move to America. On being asked about his plans, he got uncomfortable and was reluctant to answer. He did not want to share his problems with anyone, and so he spoke in a low voice. So I'm continuing in page number 3 to your left hand side, top. Well, I said, we are leaving on Monday. Is there anything I can do for you before we go? This shows that the narrator wants to help the prematured gentleman. Another good gesture by the narrator. That's why he asked the question whether they could do anything before they go. So I'm continuing. This is again page number 3 from the top second paragraph, third line. Nicola shook his head, but suddenly Jacopo said, Sir, he burst out, every Sunday we make a visit to the country, to Polita, 30 kilometers from here. Usually we hire bicycles, but tomorrow, since you are so kind, you might send us in your car. I had already told Luigi he might have the Sunday off. However, I answered, I'll drive you out myself. So these lines shows that despite the mild refusal by his brother, Jacopo out of innocence asked if the narrator could help them to get to Polita in his car. This shows the contrast between the behavior of the two boys. One shows maturity while the other shows innocence and childishness. On which the narrator agreed, despite the fact the driver was unavailable, another example of his kindness. I'm continuing again. There was a pause. Nicola was glaring at his younger brother in vexation. We could not think of troubling you, sir. It won't be any trouble. He bit his lip, then, in a rather put out tone, he said, Very well. So there was a pause. Nicola was glaring at his brother in vexation. Vexation means annoyance. He was not happy and asked the narrator not to worry for them. But the narrator insisted. Nicola was not comfortable with this plan as he did not like taking help and sympathy. But he agreed. Students, I'm continuing the next paragraph. The following afternoon, we drove to the tiny village set high upon the hillside. I imagined that our destinations would be some humble dwellings, but directed by Jacopo, we drew up at a large red roofed villa surrounded by a high stone wall. I could scarcely believe my eyes, and before I could recover breath, my two passengers had leaped from the car. I'm continuing. We shall not be long, sir, perhaps only an hour. Maybe you would like to go to the cafe in the village for a drink. They disappear beyond the corner of the wall. So, the explanation, the narrator had thought that the boys would be heading to some shabby huts according to the conditions in which they lived and worked in Verona. He was shocked to see that their destination in the village of Polita was a large villa. Narrator was amazed to see the large villa. By the time he could recover from the shock, the boys had jumped out of the car and rushed inside the villa, as they didn't want the narrator to know where they were going, and suddenly they disappeared. After a few minutes, I followed. I found a grilled signed entrance and determinedly rang the bell. I'm continuing in page number 3 to your right hand side top. A pleasant-looking woman with steel-rimmed spectacles appeared. I blinked as I saw that she was dressed in the white uniform of a trained nurse. So after some time, the narrator followed the boys and he found a grilled side entrance and he rang the bell. So the bell was answered by a nurse. So a pleasant-looking woman with steel-rimmed spectacles appeared. So he blinked as he saw that she was dressed in the white uniform of a trained nurse. From this we can understand that that pleasant-looking woman was a nurse. I just brought two small boys here. I'm continuing in page number 3. I just brought two small boys here. Ah, yes. Her face lit up. She opened the door to admit me. Nicola and Jacopo, I will take you up. She led me through a cool tile vestibule into the hospital. For hospital, the villa had become. At the door of a little cubicle, the nurse passed, put her finger to her lips, with a smile, bade me to look through the glass partition. We shall see the explanation of these lines. Upon hearing about Nicola and Jacopo, the nurse smiled, which tells us that she knows them really well. And she took the narrator through an entrance lobby into the hospital to a small room. Students, I'm continuing in page number 3 to your right hand side. Third paragraph. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sixth line. The two boys. The two boys were seated at the bedside of a girl of about 20 who, propped up on pillows, wearing a pretty lace jacket, was listening to their chatter, her eyes soft and tender. One could see at a glance a resemblance to her brothers. A vase of wild flowers stood on her table, beside a dish of fruit and several books. So these lines tells us that the boys were visiting their sister. The girl was well dressed. There was a vase of wildflowers on the table, which was not essential for living, which tells us how much she was loved by her brothers, along with a dish of fruits and books, which tells us that how well those two gentlemen took care of their sister. She was living in no shortage, which is in contrary to how those boys lived their life. I'm continuing. Won't you go in? The nurse murmured. Lucia will be pleased to see you. I shook my head and turned away. I felt I could not bear to intrude upon this happy family party. But at the foot of the staircase, I drew up and begged her to tell me all she knew about these boys. So, the explanation of the above said lines. The narrator refused to go in as he thought he would disturb the family time, but he now really started respecting them. He wanted to know everything about them, so the narrator begged the nurse to tell him all she knew about the boys. She was eager to do so. They were, she explained, quite alone in the world, except for the sister, Lucia. Their father, a widower, a well known singer, had been killed in the early part of the war. Shortly afterward, a bomb had destroyed their home and thrown the three children into the streets. They had always known a comfortable and a cultured life. Lucia had herself been training as a singer, and they had suffered horribly from near starvation and exposure to the cold winter. So, here in this passage, in this paragraph, the nurse told the family history of those boys, that their mother died early in their life. Their father was a well known singer but became a victim of the early war. They got homeless as their home got destroyed and suffered starvation and the cold winter. She also tells him that at that time Lucia had been training to be a singer. So this is page number 4 to your left hand side top. For months they had barely kept themselves alive in a sort of shelter they built with their own hands amidst the rubble. Then, for 3 years, the Germans ruled the city. The boys grew to hate the Germans. When the resistance movement began secretly to form, they were among the first to join. When the war was over and we had peace at last, they came back to their beloved sister and they found her suffering from tuberculosis of the spine. So, students, this paragraph shows that the family struggled for life. They lived in the shelter made of broken building walls and bricks. So, there is a word given here, rubble. Rubble means debris or broken bricks. They lived in the shelter made of broken building walls and bricks. The boys hated Germans as they were the reason for their drastic and miserable change of life, which also made them stand against them as rebels. After the war, they got back to their sister and found her suffering from tuberculosis of spine, which was another shock to these poor kids. This is the continuation of page number 4. Below the picture, you can see Lucia's picture in that page number 4. Below the picture, I'm going to start. She paused, took a quick breath. Did they give up? I do not have to answer that question. They brought her here, persuaded us to take her into the hospital. In the 12 months, she has been our patient and she has made good progress. There is every hope that one day she will walk and sing again. So this paragraph shows that despite facing so many problems in their early life, the boys did not lose hope. The boys brought Lucia to the hospital and convinced the hospital staff to admit her into the hospital. The nurse also added that she had been their patient for the past 12 months and she was making a good progress. And they strongly believed that one day she would walk again and surely she would be a singer. Students, this is again page number 4 to your right hand side top, first paragraph. I repeat, page number 4 to your right hand side top, first paragraph. Of course, everything is so difficult now. Food source, cards, and deer. We could not keep going unless we charged a fee. But every week, Lucia's brothers have made their payment. She added, simply, I don't know what they do. I do not ask. Work is cards in Verona. But whatever it is, I know they do it well. So, this paragraph states that the nurse explained the helpless state of the hospital, that there is less availability of food, therefore, they could not treat her for free and they had to charge a fee to keep things going. The nurse was even shocked as so less work was available in Verona, still, the boys managed to pay the fees. I'm continuing again in page number 4. Yes, I agreed, they couldn't do it better. I waited outside until the boys rejoined me. They drove them back to the city. They sat beside me, not speaking. For my part, I did not say a word. I knew they would prefer to feel that they had safely kept their secret. Yet, their devotion had touched me deeply. War had not broken their spirit. Their selfless action brought a new nobility to human life, gave promise of a greater hope for human society. So, in the last two paragraphs, the author states that the narrator was touched by the love and devotion with which the boys worked for their sister. Hardships and sadness had not deterred them. The narrator had understood their character really well, and he knew they won't like being sympathized. Therefore, he did not confront the boys. They did not bother about their needs, but worked so hard to provide the best to their sister. This showed their selflessness. The narrator felt that such a humble youth gives our society a hope for a better tomorrow. Summary of today's class. Jacopo then requests the narrator to drop them in his car to the village Pulita, that is around 30 kilometers away. He requests him and says that it would be a great favor. Although Nicola does not like the fact that his brother is troubling the narrator, but the narrator gladly agrees to help the boys with reaching that place. So the next afternoon, he, along with his companion, drives to village. After dropping them, the small boys enter a large red-roofed villa, which is actually a hospital. The narrator hesitates to enter the hospital room. He tries to find out from the nurse about the girl in the hospital and the boys. Later, the nurse tells him that Lucia is the sister of these two boys and is suffering from tuberculosis. She also mentions that a bomb destroyed their home during the war, and even their father, a widower, had got killed during the early part of the war. When he died, his three children were left to starve. She told the narrator that the boys also started hating the Germans who came to rule the city and even became a part of the resistance movement. Once the war was over, Lucia got afflicted with the tuberculosis and the boys had to admit her to the hospital. So, they have been trying their best to make the payments regularly to the hospital. The narrator waited outside the room. He did not say anything to the boys on their way back in order to give the impression that they did not know about their secret. The story is rightly titled Two Gentlemen of Verona, since these two gentlemen of Verona face their difficulties. These boys display exemplary courage amidst extreme poverty and devastation, and the author manages to find real inspiration from their lives. Students, with this, the story ends. For the assignment, study the glossary that is given in page number 5, and also find out the answers for the first question A to I repeat, for the first question A to I, find out the answers for those questions and write down in your note. Thank you.